Hey everyone, my name's Adrian Nyman. I'm coming to you from Beaverton, Oregon in the work from home COVID cave. There you go. Sure, we're all finding new ways to work and still stay connected. So I'm excited to meet everyone. I'm going to share some interesting work that we've been doing over the last few years. My role is the global creative director of Nike Retail, and I'm going to share some case studies with you that I think have some interesting implications to activity, gyms, home workouts, etc. But it's rooted in physical retail space. Just one detail is all the work I'll be sharing due to Nike's Keep It Tight policy will be consumer-facing work that's already been in the marketplace. So no strategy or content will be shared that isn't already consumer-facing. So without further ado, let's jump into it. And I'll go ahead and take us through a little bit of a deck, highlighting some case studies that kind of, I think are good backdrop to the conversation. So let me share my screen here. Okay, like I said, my name is Adrian Nyman, and I'm the global creative director of Nike Retail. And we kind of are going to go through a little bit of a case study on how gamification has helped us get people moving and get more active in store. And what are the parallels, I think, to gyms and other experiential activity opportunities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, about 2 years ago, we reset our flagship proposition, our concept at the flagship level for Nike. And I'm going to use that concept as the example that we take some of these case studies through. And I'll share work across a couple different cities. So I'm going to set up the concept a little bit for you just so you have a little bit of context and understanding to the broader story, because I think it's important. So I'll jump into that. So, really when we set out to kind of reimagine experiential retail for our flagship doors, it was really, hey, how do we make a concept that is holistic and it's a world that we can bring consumers into? How can it be more than just transacting, more than just getting access to product, but how can it be a place to truly commune and connect and engage customers in ways that traditional retail hadn't? So we did a bunch of concept work, and we basically created this concept called House of Innovation. And it really was the idea of kind of pulling the curtain back on Nike and sharing our love and passion for product and athletes and the innovation that we create to allow them to reach their potential. So the concept was called House of Innovation, and I'm going to play a little video right now. So that was Paris. It opened about, I want to say, a couple weeks ago. And it's the third installation in our flagship fleet. We have two previous ones that we started about a year and a half ago. New York, Shanghai, and Paris are the three. And like I said, these stores are really experientially led, where we really bring our innovations to life and unpack the athlete storytelling in a really experiential way to help bring consumers into our world and really create a powerful bond with them. One of the big, when I talk about, these doors being experiential, experiential has many dimensions. And one of the dimensions that we really wanted to reinvent for this door was the really creating the future of product trialing for House of Innovation. And product trialing, it's really important for a lot of reasons. One, being a sport brand, our product has to perform and has to do very specific things. So getting someone in a product and letting them experience that shoe or that piece of apparel is super important to the buyer confidence, and then just to the overall experience the person has with the brand. There's a few dimensions of that we kind of talk about, but really getting people into the product ensures proper fit, which is pretty expected, but it is a very big deal. We're investing a lot in this space. It also helps us, if we can get somebody to perform in that product, it helps us educate and explain the innovation to them in a way where they understand how it impacts them and how it's beneficial. And then lastly, it allows us to tune the individual into the right product for the right use. So if we thought about the type of running you're doing, maybe the type of training you're doing, if you're playing global football, basketball, there's lots of different positions and products that help you achieve very specific successes in those areas. So informed use is kind of the last one. We know if we can get someone to experience that product in the most real personal way, it ultimately creates a stronger bond and membership and ultimate LTV with our customers. So it's a really important thing. But I will say this isn't a new idea. Lots of brands do this, lots of companies, but it's a hard thing to do. And we've done lots of incarnations of this over the years, but we haven't always been successful. We've done yoga studios, gyms, basketball courts, treadmills. I mean, it's not uncommon for lots of sporting athletic companies like ourselves to try and get people to engage with our product in store. But I think what we learned was there's a specific mentality to the consumer when they're in retail where there's friction to get to people to participate in this. And what I mean by that is there's a mindset. When you show up at a retail store, your mindset isn't I'm going to go work out. Your mindset is I'm shopping, I'm socializing with friends. There's just a different mental space consumers are in. So we really had to say, hey, if we're going to reinvent product trialing and get people to be active and move in the store, there's a few kind of friction points that we've got to maybe overcome to get people to participate. And the first one is when you're in a public space, sport can be super intimidating. I think not everyone is LeBron James, not everybody's a super trainer, not everyone is a super athlete. So whatever the trial experience we build, it needs to disarm sport and make it approachable. We need to allow people to come in and to participate in a way where they don't feel self-conscious or insecure about their ability. The second one is, if you're going to get someone to participate, what are they going to get out of it? And what I mean by that is, we're in a kind of a entertainment. There's kind of like a, in real life Instagram element to a lot of things in the world right now, and making it entertaining and shareable is super important. I think people want to transmit and telegraph their social experiences through their social accounts, through Instagram, etc. So making that experience something that people want to be a part of and share, super important. And then lastly, I think kind of the third friction is, again, the retail mindset is you're not really in the mode of wanting to, you know, work out or do all these things. You really need someone there to guide you. You're really going to have someone answer questions, get you involved, get you fitted, do all these things that are going to make that a successful experience. So those are kind of like, you know, I think as we re-looked at, you know, House of Innovation and how we were going to maybe rethink the trial experience in a new light, these were some of the frictions that we kind of said, hey, let's hit those head on, right? So basically, based on those learnings and insights, we really had to rethink the whole concept of in-store trialing. So as we look to the future, we really thought there's got to be a new, you know, a new lens to look through at this. And we really said, hey, there's going to be two distinctive dimensions, if you will, that are really going to transform this. And I'm going to go through both of those right now. There's lots of other things that go into it, but I think these are the two main ones. And I think these are very applicable beyond House of Innovation, beyond Nike, beyond gyms. I think these are just bigger, you know, opportunities. And the first dimension is this idea of experiential gamification. How do we actually replace kind of the static treadmill with something that is led by technology? It's part of a bigger ecosystem, and it can be programmed to deliver really experiential games that can be fun and that can be entertaining and that can be just cool to look at and just really compelling. But that's not enough, right? If you just make a cool looking techie thing, it's got to actually, what's the fuel that drives that? And the second critical dimension of this is you have to then connect that to an immersive story or to a story that matters. These two examples shown here are the basketball adapt shoe. We were going to go into this as a case study, so I'll go into more detail about that. But it's really the technical ability of the gamification married with the emotional story of the brand. I think not all brands have powerful storytelling, and I think the future is really consumers are really gonna demand that. It won't be enough just to be a company of utility. I think you're gonna have to be a company of emotion and marry that with utility. So in this case, you'll see the power of narrative, you'll see the power of story and technology coming together in some really interesting ways. Those two ingredients then really experientially, they live on a spectrum of tone and attitude. And I've kind of drawn this line out at the bottom from the very playful to the very serious. Depending on what the story is, we're going to tune up and down different product launches, trial experiences to play different places on this spectrum. So the three we're going to go through are a running launch for a footwear platform called Joyride. This is really fun, really a reverent kind of proposition. The next one will be the running Zoom Pegasus, which we launched in, we're going to use the Shanghai launch as an example there. And then the last one, which is probably a little bit more technical, a little bit more performance, is the basketball adapt shoe, which we launched in New York. Each of these they each have a persona, a personality, and an attitude. The trial experience needs to extend that. It needs to increase the edges of that concept so you get a really holistic experience from the product communication to the trial, all the way to the store athlete helping you what they wear, etc. This is a whole world we're building, right? So let's jump into the first one. Like I said, Joyride was a new running platform. We launched this we launched it globally, but the example I'm gonna share is the work that the North America team did. They worked with some great digital agencies, The Mill being one, which I'm going to share a video that they produced that kind of capture a little bit of the behind the scenes journey on how we brought a really light, fun, kind of joyful trial experience to help launch this product. So here we go. I'm going to jump into another video and we'll chat afterwards. So amazing, you know, kind of example of really world building and then harmonizing all these elements together and putting trial at the center. When we think about the Joyride shoe, it had an incredible, and it does have an incredible underfoot sensation. It has a very soft kind of beanbag kind of underfoot feel. So we really wanted to, you know, it was so important to get people to put that shoe on and to get them moving. And the idea of sometimes Nike innovation can be a little bit austere and serious. Joyride really challenged us to really speak to innovation in a less, take something very technical, but explain it in a more fun, irreverent way. And then the trial experience itself, just not being intimidating, right? Let's create an invitation that people want to have fun. They want to share that experience. They want to do it with their kids. They want to do it with their grandparents. It's just not taking yourself too serious and really allowing people to have a conversation with the brand and interact with Nike in a way that, you know, creates more connection and more engagement. So cool. Again, big shout out to the North America team, Brian Panaya, the creative director, and the team that put that together. Amazing, truly amazing work. Next, we're going to go to Shanghai, and we're going to talk about the Zoom Peg footwear launch. This was the opening floor set when the grand opening of Nike Shanghai, which I'll be honest, I was in Shanghai for this opening, and I just remember standing up on the mezzanine, looking down and just seeing, you know, a line out the door for people wanting to do this, and just seeing how much fun people were having. And it was a really exciting moment to kind of, because, you know, trial, like I said earlier, hasn't always been successful. So to kind of see this level of engagement was really, really fun. Zoom was a little more serious. It wasn't quite as irreverent and fun, but we still had to gamify it. We still had to make it something that, that people wanted to compete and challenge each other. So I'll go ahead and play you a little video of that now. again, amazing energy. You know, some of the takeaways were, you know, if you think about Shanghai architecturally, it really, it has this kind of big atrium floor cut that then looks down onto this digital floor that then goes up a 4-story elevator shaft. So the gamification experience in Shanghai really puts it as the heartbeat of the store. When it's not always activated as a trial moment, sometimes it's a maker experience, sometimes it's just a pure product support superiority storytelling moment. But when it is activated as a trial moment, it really is, it's a shock and awe moment that just catches people's attention. One of the cool things about this was there was a real intentional leaderboard where everybody that was doing it, their scores were transmitted up the elevator shaft. So you had this kind of real-time kind of competition happening in the store. Also the ability for the activity to switch between single and multiplayer. There were just a lot of really cool ways that the game could be tuned to whatever the needs of the day were. A really great, really kind of a little more serious than Joyride, but still a really fun, really exciting way to introduce our consumers to the Zoom product. Okay, last one. This is the third, which is the basketball adapt footwear launch. This one is the most probably modern and serious. If you think about this product, it is it's a self-lacing shoe, so it has a ton of tech in it. It is a very, you know, it's a very prolific product for us. It really is at the leading edge of innovation. So again, North America team brought this to life in a really powerful way. We also did an innovation launch in New York City at the same time. So the store and the launch all happened together. Some of the work here you'll see was done by in partnership with an agency, Hovercraft. Really powerful innovation storytelling here. I'll go ahead and play a video. All right. Okay, so obviously a little bit more, you know, a little more serious in tone and attitude, but still amazing. You know, when we think about the technical product nature with the environment, it really is a jaw-dropping kind of expression. You know, really it was that deep innovation storytelling that really led this project. And the performance nature, it was less about a game and it was more about drills and performance basketball than it was about hopping and skipping. Like Joyride was a more fun-led experience. This is a little bit more performance-led. And then another thing that you kind of saw at the end there was uh, at the end, you got a physical poster that kind of printed out with your stats, and it recorded kind of your, your times and your performance. And it was done in a super cool kind of graphic design poster way. So you got to take that away as a keepsake, as well as transmit the digital experience through, Instagram and other social platforms. So a really cool, representation of something a little bit more performance led. So that's the third and final. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a little bit of a recap, and then maybe some parting thoughts. All right. So if we think about, experiential trialing and activity in store, really what has become incredibly evident, and this is, I think, applicable to everything, from a retail store to your bedroom, is you got to have a story. You got to have a narrative. What is the world you're building for that consumer to participate in? And it's got to be interesting. It can't just be some generic, you know, skipping hopping game that doesn't really have a purpose. So being able to connect your marketing narrative, your product narrative, your experiences all together into something that people want to share and be a part of is super important. And the story is really the central part of that. The second part is really the digital capability. There's a lot of, in a lot of those videos, we showed a lot of the kind of behind the scenes stuff, and really being able to build a gaming architecture that then can be skinned with different games. I think that's a big learning is, you want to build whatever your technology platform is. In our case, it was really led with a lot of the digital floor activity. We wanted to build something and then scale it and reuse it. So that was an important learning and an important capability. And then lastly, the idea of, shareability it's almost in today's world, if you didn't post it on Instagram, did it even happen? And I think that's a real critical, insight, that you've got to make your experience, the world you're building, something that can be transmitted and shared, not by you, but by your community. So if that's a digital artifact or a physical artifact, you need to be able to allow those stories to live beyond your marketing mix, beyond your channels, and let the consumers run with it. So that's kind of it for me. I think, when we think about the broader world of activity, gyms, movement, training, physical conditioning, etc., I would say that I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this keynote right now. But I would say the parallels between the work that I've shared, and I think the where the world's moving per se, is COVID and the pandemic has really created a gym in everyone's living room. And I think companies, and Nike's doing this, as well as, all types of companies, being able to create a level of escapism and to enhance physical activity in ways that get consumers excited, that make it easier for them to want to work out, that make it easier for them to want to participate. I think that's really the idea here. Obviously, I showed a very specific case study around physical retail and how we were trying to do that. But I really believe that, you've got a couple billion people working out in their living rooms because they've been, shelter in place, or our ability to create technology and utility and function that allow them to be a part of a story that's more than them just, doing squats in their living room. I think that's a really exciting space that's accelerating incredibly fast. So I think, the negative impacts of a lot of the pandemic stuff are also having a lot of positive accelerations. And I think this is an area where I think everyone watching this and everybody in this industry see a tremendous amount of upside. And I think, you know, getting people to be active and to take care of themselves is, you know, I think it's a great calling for anyone to help and to advance. I know Nike, that's central to what we do. So I think as, you know, as we think about the frictions and things stopping people from being active and being healthy, bringing a narrative, bringing a level of gamification or fun, making things enjoyable and making them easy. I think those principles transcend everything from personal spaces to retail to communal gyms to etc. So hopefully that that felt interesting. I hope some of you get a chance to go to some of these doors. If you're, you know, in Europe and you can make it to Paris, that's an amazing store. Unfortunately, I haven't even had a chance to get to it because it literally opened when we were, you know, in shelter in place in North America. The Shanghai door is absolutely amazing, and the New York door is amazing. A big shout out to all the Nike design teams that brought all that work to life. Brian Panay in North America, Andy Walker in EMEA, and Simon in Greater China. So, hey, without further ado, thank you so much. Super appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed that, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.